Guys, can we talk about football for a second? My youngest scored his first touchdown tonight at the game. And football is not something I've encouraged him to do. In fact, somebody who played a lot of football when I was younger myself, it's a little scary as a parent. And it is a weird thing to be involved in. It's just children running into each other over and over again. I know there's a lot of dangers. They have a lot more protocols now and a lot more rules. It does seem safer than when I was a kid. I started playing football if you were a child in Texas, they hand you a helmet as a fetus, and then you put it on, and then it really is, you're born just tackling people. And so my uncle, I remember one of my earliest memories, I was probably 5, outside, my uncle's teaching me how to be a defensive lineman. There were like moves, the swim move, the hammer move, and then a spin move. And then back then he taught me a lot of things that I realized later were not legal. But it was a part of our family. It's in our blood. Growing up in West Texas area, you just hard ground, dry, cracked ground, you just fall on. It was like living on a 4-week-old cookie. That's kind of what it was like living on. And then I drank a lot of milk and I slept a lot, and so I just got giant. I turned into a giant. My mom's very small, and my dad is medium to tall. He's a real midi tall guy. So I outgrew them both, and then you go from. Sometimes the coach would be so exasperated at me when I was normal size. He'd be like, "JT, you gotta somebody got to feed you some red meat, son." And I was like 11. And he was telling me that I just didn't have the fire. I didn't know that. I thought genuinely I had to start eating raw hamburger. And I was like, I guess we're doing this. And I never did it. But I thought if the opportunity ever arose, I was going to chow down on some red meat. But I didn't have to. I ended up, the larger you get and the more you do it, you realize you can knock people down. If you tilt your body in a certain degree and you weigh a certain amount, that's just what you do. So I got to play high school. I was defensive end, tight end for a very small school. It was very fun. I think I was, I did well. Yet my true love is basketball. So football was sometimes losing a football game at a high school football game is a little bit like going and getting beat up on a Friday night in front of all your friends. It's like, hey, let's invite the whole town to drive 40 miles away. Try not to look your foot on camera. Let's invite the town to drive 40 miles away. It's going to be a big, they're going to have to take off work. A lot of people are. They have to eat at a bad Dairy Queen where the tomatoes are almost white in color. It's like, can you let them grow just a little bit more? They get to go through all this, and then somebody's going to knock you silly in front of, your high school crush, the math teacher, the geometry teacher's there for some reason, and he will later explain to you in angles that you are bad at football. So it's a tough gig. I ended up sitting out my junior year to focus on basketball, but senior year I felt so bad that all my friends were having fun without me that I went back. I do remember this. This is a true story. We're going to tell 2 football stories, and I hope they're interesting. You don't have to know football to get these. So don't worry, Garfield. You've never seen a football game in your life, and I know you never will. First off, I was on a punt return, right? Which means the other team's kicking the ball to us, and I'm trying to go down and block the other team. One of the guys for the other team, I don't know where it was, hit me, blindsided me. I blacked out, and then I woke up and I was looking at a starry sky, not hallucinating stars, but there were stars in the night sky above the lights. So I felt kind of weird, right? As you do when somebody knocks you cold. I ran to the sidelines and I was trying to get my breath and figure out where I was. And I looked down the sideline and there was nothing but green jerseys. I wore a black and orange jersey. I had gotten hit so hard that I joined the other team. That was one of the things I remember. And now we know that that's not a good thing to get knocked out, obviously. And I know a lot of you people who are listening to this, it's very difficult for you to even imagining these things happening in football. And I understand where you're coming from. Second story, last personal football story. It was my senior year. I was in a game and I hit somebody very hard. And in fact, one of my dad's friends pulled me aside because the whole time, like I said, everybody was there. Everybody knew everything you did. And he said, JT, your son, I've been watching football for wow, good pop, excuse me. I've been watching football for 45 years. I have never seen a hit as hard as you would hit that little boy out there carrying the ball. I was like, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. What I didn't tell him is that I had tripped. I didn't even know I had hit the other player. I had tripped on a clump of grass, and it became kind of my lore. It was like I can't even explain it. But oftentimes, some of the best things you do end up being some of the things you do accidentally. That being said, I maybe have talked about this once before, but when I was like 7 or 8, I was recording myself with a tape recorder, talking to my cat at the time, and I remember making a little joke about it, and my buddy, one of my best friends, listened to it like later that night and started laughing so hard. When you make somebody laugh, that's kind of a great feeling, So I remembered that, and now look where we are now. I don't know if we're making people laugh hard, but we're definitely recording ourselves talking to our cats. So my son, who has not eaten a lot of red meat, he is very more finesse than violent on the football field. Caught a touchdown pass, 2-point conversion to be fair, tonight. I was very proud of him. Tied up the game, and then we got to go get some chicken nuggets after. And that's football culture, man, here in the state. Basketball season's coming up. We got to work hard at that, and we're going to go from there. I appreciate you guys listening to this and getting those hard-to-reach spaces in between your pink bean toes. That's always also important. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. And watch out for head-to-head contact.